Hello guys, this is your friend Dark Verse. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Smart Naruto Build Training Trip Harem with Haku Anko Ino Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. They were pissed. The sacrifice they figures were looking through a bubble of their former home, at a blonde boy with his team. They were chasing a cat named Tora, which they were all familiar with, but what made them mad was how the team treated their teammate. Dark Raven, are you in position? Kakashi asked. Hi, Silver Wolf. Sasuke replied. Cherry Blossom, are you in position? Hi, Silver Wolf. Sakura replied. Blonde Dummy, are you in position? Kakashi asked over the mic. He didn't receive a reply. Blonde Dummy, are you there? Yes, I'm here, you silver jackass. Naruto responded. Blonde Dummy, what did I tell you about respect? Well, when you show you deserve it, I'll give it to you. Naruto yelled. Fine, since you feel that way, you go catch the cat. Wow, shocker. I do all the work and you give Dark Emo the credit. This team in my life. Naruto said, leaping towards the cat. That. A red-headed figure said, squeezing her hand. After all we are done, he treats my son like that. There was another sphere where they watched Team 7 escort a bridge builder, but then they were attacked by the demon brothers. One of them charged Sakura and Naruto jumped in front of her. He beat the Chunin, but what his teammates said pissed the four off. Damn it, Naruto. Sasuke had it. Why did you do that? The Pink Kid asked. What? But he was about to attack you. Naruto answered. Naruto, that was reckless. You are not prepared for these types of opponents. Kakashi scolded. Well, I guess it's the sensei's fault, since I've been on this team for 2 months and all you did was take the Tem in the corner and give him some secret seductive training. Naruto retorted. When you are ready, I'll train you. Doubt it, you're just like all the others. Hating me for something I can't control. I can't even save a teammate's life without being yelled at. Naruto complained. As they continued the walk, Tazuna put a hand on the blonde shoulder. Hey kid, I think you did great out there. But if you don't mind me asking, why do they hate you? Naruto signed. He decided there was no point in hiding it. No matter where I go, I'll be hated. Naruto then told him the story of his hero. It's my fault. If I never sealed the fox in him, maybe he could have had a better. One of the figures said with guilt. Koi, it's not your fault. Naruto-kun was the only one who could handle the power without destroying the village. Said a redhead woman. I see, so he's the third Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi after my Mito Haim and you, Kushina-san. The third figure said. Ni-san, we can't let this go on. He's an Uzumaki, cousin to our clan and the same clan as your wife. At least Tazuna's family treated him right, despite knowing his secret. They saw how they gave little portions of food to Team 7 because they kept leaving Naruto to watch the family, while Kakashi took the other two to train. Minato seethed at this. His student betrayed him and a Jiraiya was still protecting the village from the outside. Yondaime-sama. Minato turned to Tobirama Senju. I know you're angry. Trust me, I am too. If I could, I would make him my student and correct the village's mistakes. I agree with my boy, seems promising. Hashirama said. But sadly we're deceased and there's nothing we can do. Maybe I can help. The group of four looked up and saw a woman with angel wings descend on them. Kami-sama. They all said in unison and kneeled down. At ease. I heard your conversation and I agree. No child should be allowed to go through this. I'm not allowed to interfere with mortals, that is unless they're in a dying state. Soon Naruto-kun will be put there and I'll pull his spirit here. Then you four could train him, give him your bloodlines. Kami said. Kushina's eyes widened but frowned. I'm very grateful, but what's the catch? You're as smart as ever, he just has to kill a certain someone who has been escaping his long death for a while now. Kami answered. The four knew who she was talking about. Sasuke why? Naruto asked. Sasuke just used him to Kawarimi himself to safety. Haku was shocked and angry at the Uchiha for what he did to her new friend. Naruto was the first person to understand her pain, and even though he hated his teammates, he still tried to save him. Haku did not enjoy killing, but for the first time, she wanted to kill the Uchiha. Sasuke looked towards the blonde and snorted. You should feel honored that your life now has meaning. You were nothing but an orphan, you gave your life for mine, and that's all you are worth. What kind of scumbag are you? Sasuke turned to Haku, who took off her mask and was glaring at the Uchiha. I was going to spare you, but now you'll die. Trash like you don't deserve to breathe. Zabuza heard what happened and turned to Kakashi. You taught your team to use each other like that. And people call me a demon. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. Naruto was going to die anyway. He was the dead last of his class and thought of a shinobi as a joke. That's not what I saw. He saved your unworthy from my water prison, helped the villagers here, and trained the hardest to protect the old man from what Haku said about him. The Uchiha is a high horse, the pinky is useless as a dead corpse, and you are the Uchiha personnel dildo. Honestly, the blonde has my respect compared to your whole team. Zabuza responded. You've been spying on us. I'm your enemy, and speaking of, it looks like the Uchiha is done. Kakashi turned to Sasuke and was shocked to see him on the ground. Looks like he went to hell, at least the blonde made it to paradise. Now it's time for you to join the Uchiha. Haku was next to Naruto's body. I know I didn't know you long, but you've become my best friend. Naruto woke up on top of some clouds, and above him was a golden sky. Where am I? It's nice to finally meet you, Naruto. Naruto turned and saw 4 people staring at him. He instantly recognized 3 of them. You are the Hokages, Dadbao. Naruto yelled in excitement. Kushina chuckled. It looks like you got my tick. Kushina said. She then approached the blonde and bent down to his level. Naruto, I don't know how to say this, but you are in a death-like state, and Kami allowed the 4 of us to meet you. Oh, like how no brows was. Okay, so, why did you want to meet? Naruto didn't get to finish when the redhead woman engulfed him in a hug. Naruto, I wanted to meet you because I'm your mother. Kushina Uzumaki. I'm so happy to meet you, Dadabane. Naruto's eyes widened and slowly brought his hands around the woman. Minato smiled and approached the duo. Hey Naruto, can't your father get a hug? Naruto's eyes widened when Minato said that. You mean the Yondaime is my, Naruto said. Minato nodded before receiving a punch in the stomach. How dare you seal the Kyuubi in your son? Yeah, I deserve that, but only people from your clan can handle the fox's chakra. Minato said. Naruto stepped back from his parents. I'm from a clan. Kushina signed. They began to tell Naruto about his clan and the day of his birth from the Masked Man and his godfather, along with Kakashi being his student, which Minato was disappointed in at the moment. Naruto was quiet after absorbing it all. I see, so what now? This time the Senju brothers walked up to the Uzumaki family. Naruto-san, I'm Hashirama Senju, as you know, and this is my brother. We've been witnessing your life, and I gotta say I'm disappointed in the villagers. It seems the will of fire is gone and been replaced by greed and fear. To make up for the village's mistake, we decided to offer you a gift. Kami gave us permission to bestow our talent to you. My Mokudan and medic abilities, my brother's water manipulation, and some of his Kinjutsu. My Fuinjutsu knowledge and Kenjutsu, and Minato Koi Taijutsu and his jutsu that made him famous. Kushina added. I love to learn all that, but my team needs help. Naruto said. What a righteous heart you have. You would abandon power for others who wrong you. You are an interesting mortal. Naruto saw a woman descend with angel wings. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun, I'm Kami. Naruto's eyes widened and he bowed. It's nice to meet you, you are very beautiful. Kami giggled. You are a lovely young man. I came here to let you know that you don't have to worry about time. 1,000 years can pass, but in mortal time, only a millisecond will pass. Your physical body will not be affected by this, but when you return, I'll adjust your body to its proper size and muscle so you could handle the power. All I want from you in return is to kill Orochimaru. May you do that for me? Yes, ma'am. Naruto responded. Kami clapped her hands together and smiled. Great. We can now begin. It should take you 20 years worth of time with your clones. Let's not waste time. Haku was sitting on the bridge with Naruto's head in her lap, brushing her fingers through his head. His only form of love was from people that work from a ramen stand. If it weren't for Getu, she would have loved to be the blonde's friend. Soon she heard chirping and saw her master being pinned down by dogs. Haku signed and turned to the blonde. I'll be joining you soon, Naruto-kun. Haku said, giving the blonde a peck on the lips and shunshin away. If she had stayed longer, she would have seen Naruto's body beginning to glow. Kakashi was charging up a Raikiri, preparing to end Zabuza's life. So Zabuza, any last words? Yeah, I can't wait to see you in hell. At least that way the Gaki can rest in peace. Zabuza said. Kakashi glared at the missing nin. He couldn't understand why he was so infatuated with Naruto. He was nothing. Now time to die. Kakashi charged the missing nin, but soon an ice mirror appeared in front of him. Haku stepped out of the mirror and tried to use herself as a shield. She closed her eyes thinking about her master and her blonde friend, then all of a sudden she and Zabuza disappeared from their spot. Kakashi and his summons was surprised, but what Kakashi noticed in their place was a tri-pronged kunai. Wait, that belongs to. Are you okay, Haku-chan? Kakashi turned around and saw a blonde man holding Haku bridal style and Zabuza staring at him in awe. He was wearing a white jacket with black anbu pants and had the kanji for Orange Flash, Sensei. Hi, thank you. But who are you? Haku asked, blushing at the handsome blonde. Naruto chuckled. I know it felt like years since I saw you, but I was just laying in your lap not too long ago after the Tem used me as a shield. Haku's eyes widened. Naruto-kun, you're alive, Haku said. Naruto was slightly taller and a lot more muscular than she remembered. Zabuza saw the look in his daughter's eyes. He never saw her more alive. This boy is special. Maybe I should leave Haku with him. Everyone snapped out of their thoughts when they heard clapping. Wow, turns out the demon of the mist is nothing but a joke. Look at your arms, you might as well as be dead. Gato taunted. Gato, what are you doing here? Zabuza asked. Well, there's been a change of plan. Shinobi are so expensive, all these guys behind equal up to how much I was going to pay you. And since you're so tired, I don't see how you are a problem. Okay boys, kill them but bring the girl in the blonde arms, time to make her obedient. Zabuza looked at Naruto and ripped the bandage from his mouth. Kakashi, it looks like our fight is at an end. Naruto was it. Give me a kunai, I'll kill most of them but do me a favor. Huh, Zabuza, wait. What about Haku? I can kill them. I know you can, but this is personal. Anyway, my favors. 1. Kill Gato for me. And 2. Take care of my daughter. Haku started to cry. Zabuza, her master, thought of her as his daughter. She was loved. But san. No buts. Haku stopped talking and nodded slowly. Haku, I saw how you look at Naruto and I want you to be happy. Take my sword and find a teacher. My final order is to serve the Gaki. Be his friend, weapon and the reason you both live. He's your new master. Hi, Haku said quietly and hugged Naruto, crying in his chest. Naruto rubbed her back. I promise Zabuza, I will not let anything happen to her. As of now, Haku is under the protection of the Uzumaki clan, Senju clan and Namikaze clan. Fortunately for Naruto, Kakashi was out of range, he didn't want him to know just yet. Zabuza's eyes widened and chuckled. I see, you're the son of that man. No wonder you seem familiar. And thank you. Zabuza grabbed the kunai with his teeth and charged the army of thugs, slashing and cutting down half of them. Gato went to the back of the crowd as he watched the slaughter. Some of the thugs threw spears at him, landing on his back and chest. Zabuza fell to his knees, coughing up blood. One of the thugs swung a sword towards his neck. Naruto saw this, pulled up his sleeve and wiped some blood on it. A crimson metal katana appeared in Naruto's hand. He threw a tri-pronged kunai towards the attacker and teleported towards him. Once he appeared, he decapitated him and grabbed Zabuza's body and disappeared back towards Haku's side. Zabuza barely had his eyes open, but when he saw his blade, he chuckled. Of course you would be her son as well. Kakashi really screwed this one over. My time up, kid. Haku, I love you. I know I never showed it, but you are special to me. The kid is your new master and friend, remember that. Goodbye. Haku started to cry. Goodbye to San. Ah, boo-hoo, the baby demon is dead. That's what happens when you mess with me. A perfect example, but don't worry, after I play with you, you'll join him. Gato taunted. Naruto and Haku glared at the man, killer intent rising, causing everyone to gasp for air. Don't kill Gato yet, I got business with him, but after I'm done, he's yours. Hi Naruto-sama. Haku replied. They both dashed forward in a blur, decimating the thugs one by one, causing a huge bloodbath. Gato was panicking in fear. He didn't expect this, and soon he snapped out his thoughts when he noticed Naruto standing in front of him, covered in blood. Please don't kill me. I can give you anything you want, money, woman, power. Gato begged. Naruto was about to speak until he heard a crowd of villagers behind him. Hey Ni-san, the hero arrives last. We're here to help, Inari said. Naruto chuckled. Well, you're kinda late. But I'm proud of you, Inari. You have the heart of a hero. Inari blushed and smiled. Thank Ni-san. Naruto nodded and turned to Gato. You're coming with me. Haku, grab Zabuza's sword, or should I say your sword, and follow me. I don't trust the Tem to claim. Hi Naruto-sama. Haku responded. You know you don't have to call me that, we're friends. I know, but I don't mind. Do you find it annoying? Haku asked in a cute way. Naruto blushed as he stared into her eyes. Oh no, do whatever makes you happy, Haku-chan. Naruto responded. Naruto, wait. Naruto and Haku turned to Kakashi. Naruto started to radiate a high pressure of ki that startled Kakashi. How did you do that? The Yondaime sealed part of his chakra in me, just in case the village turns against me. He trained me mentally and passed on his knowledge to me. I know every technique he knows. Now I have something to take care of. Naruto said before shishing away alongside Haku. Kakashi was baffled. The Yondaime knew the village would turn against Naruto. He expected nothing less from his sensei, but why teach Naruto? Later that night, Naruto arrives at Tsunami house alongside Haku. Tsunami was in the living room, alongside her father and Inari. Naruto-kun, you're here. Who's this? Naruto nodded at Haku. Hello there. My name is Haku Yuki and I was Zabuza's apprentice. Now I work for Naruto-sama. It's nice to meet you. Likewise. Anyway, thank you Naruto-kun, for everything. Tsunami said. Don't thank me just yet. Naruto said, pulling out a roll-up paper and handing it to the woman. Tsunami read it and gasped. She started to shake and look up at Naruto. Is this true? What is it, Ka-chan? Inari asked. Naruto just gave me 80% of Gato's fortune and he gets 20%. With this, I am the new wave daimyo. I'm the owner of Gato's shipping. Tsunami said with tears. She turned to Naruto and ran to the blonde, embracing him into a hug. Thank you so much Naruto-kun. Tsunami gave Naruto a kiss on the cheek. That was really kind of you, Naruto-sama. Haku said. Naruto chuckled a bit and blushed. What's with the? Sasuke asked, coming down the stairs. Once he saw Haku, he glared at the Hyoten user and charged her with a kunai in hand. Naruto appeared in front of her and grabbed the Uchiha wrist. Sasuke winced at the pain and glared at Naruto. What are you doing, Dobi? Don't you read clan laws? She is under my protection and attacking her is illegal. Naruto said. Let go of me, Dobi. You're not from a clan, you're just a loser someone left behind. Sasuke said with a smirk. Kakashi soon came down and glared at the blonde. Naruto, what are you doing to Sasuke? Let him go. Sure, if you want him to be executed. Naruto said, confusing Kakashi. Haku is under my clan's protection. So if he attacks Haku, I have the right to eliminate him by law. Why, you're not from a clan? Kakashi said. Naruto smirked. Then tell me, does this look familiar? Naruto shot armament chains and wrapped it around Sasuke and slammed him through the wall. Kakashi's eye widened. That's the Uzumaki armament chains that stop chakra flow with a touch. That also explains the massive amount of chakra I have. Naruto said. Kakashi gulped. Sasuke was in deep shit, and with Naruto's status, Haku was untouchable. Hey Naruto baka, let Sasuke go. Sakura yelled, preparing to slug the blonde. When she threw her punch, Haku appeared in front of her fist and caught it. You will not touch my master or there will be consequences. Haku threatened, causing Sakura to shiver. Dobi, when I get out of here, I'm going to kick your and use your sword to kill that bitch. Sasuke threatened. Please try and give me a reason to kill you. Naruto responded. You're not from a clan, your mom was probably just a common whore who met your drunk of a dad and had an unplanned kid. Sasuke said. Naruto went quiet as images of his parents appeared in his mind. Naruto had a gold aura around him as his ki began to rise to monstrous levels, scaring everyone, even Kakashi. Sakura passed out. Kakashi was struggling to get up and Sasuke practically shit himself. Naruto-kun. Naruto snapped out of it and looked at his friend and saw the concerned look in her face. Naruto signed and stopped his ki. Uchiha, next time you talk about my mother, I'm going to remove your reproductive part. Naruto threatens. Now Naruto, that's enough, I'm going to report this to the Hokage about you disobedience. Kakashi scolded. Hatake-san, I'm afraid I'll be complaining. Ever since you arrived, you've been treating your student horrible no matter what he did. I see people being treated unfairly, but this takes the cake. Naruto has done more for this village than the three of you. The black-haired young man was rude to everyone, thinking we should cater to his will. The Pinkett has been useless since she arrived and you've been playing favorites. Aren't you supposed to be a sensei? You ignore one of your students. Tsunami threatens. Sasuke scoffed. And why would the old man listen to you, bitch? I'll kill you in a heartbeat. I'm an Uchiha, I'll do what I want. Because, thanks to Naruto-kun, I'm the new wave daimyo and I'm pretty sure you know what that means, especially since you just threatened me. Kakashi paled. He, Sasuke and Sakura were screwed. Now because she was the daimyo, if they messed with Naruto or her family, they would be punished. Naruto smiled and turned to Tsunami. Also, I have a gift for you outside. Naruto released the emo and headed outside. Tsunami was confusing until she went outside and saw multiple fruit trees. What, how? I grew them for you, I hope it's okay. Naruto said. It's amazing, but how did you grow them so fast? Tsunami asked. Naruto chuckled. Let's just say it's one of my hidden talents. Naruto joked. Pissed. You have no talent, loser. Speaking of that sword, hand it over, only someone as worthy as me can handle it. Sasuke said. Well, enjoy the tree, I'm going to take a bath. Naruto said. I'll join you, Naruto-sama. Haku offered. Sasuke seethed. Naruto just ignored him. How dare he? Haku, you don't have to. Dobi. Naruto turned to the Uchiha with a bored expression. Sasuke walked up to the blonde. Give me the sword. Yeah, Sasuke-kun deserve it way more than you. Sakura said, waking up after passing out from the key. Naruto looked at Sasuke and turned around. Sasuke seethed and was about to reach for him. Remember Uchiha, Naruto is this country hero, if you touch him, you're dead. Why are you protecting Tsunami-san? Kakashi asked. Because he can't rely on you, since you allow this rude boy to disrespect anyone because of some clan name no one cares about. Tsunami answered. How dare you disrespect me? Sasuke said before walking up to Tsunami and slapping her with a smug look on his face. Kakashi paled at what Sasuke just did. Sakura's jaw dropped. She may like the Uchiha, but she was smart enough to know what he did was wrong. Tsunami got up and glared at the Uchiha, surprising the emo. You realize by hitting me, I can call for your execution, she said and snapped her fingers. In the blink of an eye, Naruto grabbed Sasuke by the throat and slammed him into a tree, while holding him up in the air. Naruto pulled out his Shinku no Taiyo, Crimson Sun, and held it to the dumbass neck. Naru, Hataki-san, you realize if you stop Naruto, you'll be in just a bad spot. Kakashi stopped after hearing Tsunami words. I'm definitely letting the Hokage know about this. Tazuna said. Sakura was looking between everyone. She decided to try to appeal to Naruto. Naruto, I'm sure Sasuke didn't mean it. Sakura said, sounding scared. Naruto ignored her and turned to the wave daimyo. It's your call. Tsunami smirked. Let him live, but can you somehow seal his chakra? I don't trust him. Tsunami asked. Naruto nodded and went through some hand signs. Uzumaki chakra Seigen. Naruto palmed Sasuke's chest and chain lock marks appeared around Sasuke's body and he passed out. Tsunami then turned to Kakashi. I'm not sure how you handle things, but listen up. I will report this to your leader, and because of this, the Uchiha will be cut from the par and his portion will be handed to Naruto-kun. Let this be a lesson. Kakashi nodded. He was in deep shit. Naruto walked upstairs towards the bathroom, with Haku following behind, still insisting on bathing with the blonde. Kakashi looked at the Uchiha and then at Naruto. How did the boy get so strong and where did he learn his sensei moves? Naruto led Haku outside and put up a sound barrier. Haku-chan, I called here to let you know that I have 2 separate missions I have to do. What are they, Naruto-sama? I have to change the fate of 2 people, one is a hero and the other is kin. I'll send a wood clone with you to throw off suspicion. If you want to communicate with me, talk through the clone. Naruto said before pulling out a tri-plonge kunai. Here, I can transport us back after my mission. Be careful, Haku. Is there anyone I can trust until you get back? Yeah, the Hokage, Anko and her apprentice. Also the Ichirakus from the ramen stand. I also suggest the 2 females on Team 8. Naruto answered. Haku nodded before hugging Naruto and kissing him on the cheek. Good luck, Naruto-sama. Flashback end. Alright, let's head out. Konoha awaits. Kakashi said, snapping Haku out of her thoughts. Sasuke-kun, when we get back, would you like to go on a date? Sakura asked, hopefully. No, Sasuke answered, walking beside Kakashi. Sakura looked defeated but walked next to him. What's the plan for me, Naruto-sama? Haku asked. Well, I'm going to try and put you on Team 11. My friend Anko has 1 student and can complete C-rank missions without 2 more. With you and one of the others I'm saving, she'll have a full team. Haku nodded but was deflated. I wish I was on your team. Well, there's no way for that to happen unless one of the Jonin instructors wants to switch their student, and I don't want to leave you on this team. Achoo. Blush you, sensei. Are you getting sick? Hinata asked. No, I don't. Why, but I feel like someone found a way to get rid of Kiba and his perverted ways. Kurenai said. Really? Hopefully we get Naruto-kun. Akunoichi was walking through a valley heading to Kiri for a negotiation mission. She was fair-skinned with pupilless brown eyes. She had green hair that she tied in a bun on top of her head with a hair needle running through it and one short and long strands of hair with orange tips framing each side of her face. Her attire consists of a sleeveless backless top and short tight pants with two lapels on the front and the back. She wore an obi around her waist, as well as purple arm warmers which extended up to her shoulders and had bandages around her tights and ankles, plus a Suna headband. As she was walking, she noticed a Kiri ninja walking up to her. Pakura of the Scorch style, the Kiri ninja began. "We've come to welcome you," he said, standing right in front of Pakura. "It's an honor to meet you. This mist is shroud, so we thought you would need someone to lead the way," he finished. "Thank you very much, but there is no way I would get lost in this valley," Pakura responded. "Very true. Well, please proceed," the Kiri ninja insisted. But to Pakura's surprise, when she walked in front, she was stabbed behind by the same ninja. What are you doing?" she questioned. "Feel the pain felt by our comrades who were killed by your village," the Kiri shinobi answered in anger. He then jumped back as Pakura fell to the ground. Then from the top of the valley a barrage of shuriken and kunai was raining down at Pakura. "My village betrayed me, I have no one. I guess this is goodbye," Pakura said, accepting her faith. Before the Kiri nin delivered the finishing blow, he was impaled through the chest by a sword. Pakura was shocked, but what surprised was a blonde teenager holding the sword. "Are you okay?" Naruto asks, kicking the dead nin aside and approaching Pakura. Who are you? Why did you save me?" "Don't speak too much. Here, let me help," Naruto said and embraced the girl in a hug. Pakura was about to ask why he hugged her until he felt warm energy enter her body and her wounds were healing. After around 2 more minutes, Naruto let go. "And done, how are you feeling?" Pakura stood up and flexed a bit. "A lot better, but again, why?" Naruto just gave her a warm smile. "Because you are a hero and a beautiful woman, I don't think it's time to die." Pakura blushed and gave him a small smile. "Thanks again. But my village betrayed me and used me as a sacrifice. Even though they claimed me to be a hero, I'm just another tool. I know how it feels." Pakura turned to Naruto with a questionable look. "I am a Jinchuriki. The Yondaime of my village sealed the Kyuubi inside me to protect me and the village. But the village looks at me as the Biju itself. I have had assassination attempts, overcharged food and been ignored my whole life except for a few people. Sounds like the Sans Jinchuriki, but I'm curious. How are you stable and not a monster seeking revenge or giving into your inner demon?" "Because of those very few people. They accepted me and looked at me as they would anyone else. I want to become strong to protect those important to me and not become the very thing the villagers think I am," Naruto said before grabbing both of Pakura's hands into his own. "We are not sacrifices, we are people too. I will become Hokage, revive my clans and show everyone how wrong they are." Pakura's face turned deep red. This boy. No. This man's eyes. Full of determination and passion, this blonde was a saint. He saved her from a horrible death and his soul of an honorable shinobi. To gain strength to protect what you care about. She wanted to get strong for her village, but not anymore. She looked behind the blonde and saw multiple Kiri dead, and by their outfits, they were Jonin. "Did you kill them?" "Yes." "Why do you ask?" Naruto responded, tilting his head. "But they were Jonin. And," Naruto said, not seeing where she was going with this. Pakura was surprised, how someone 6 years younger than her can take out a 7 Jonin. "What's your name?" Pakura asked. "Huh. Oh, sorry. I forgot. My name is Naruto Uzumaki." "I see, you're the last of that clan, and what's the other?" "Senju." "Well, Naruto-sama." Naruto was taken back by the honorific. "Because you saved my life and I refuse to go back to my old village. I now relinquish myself to you as your servant, tool and spoil. I vow to serve you whenever you wish for the rest of my life, and I will assist in rebuilding your clan." "What? But, damn, you did the vow. If this is what you want. First Haku and now you. Naruto said with a small chuckle. Alright, I accept and promise to protect you and make you as happy as possible. Pakura smiled and bowed. Thank you, Naruto-sama. But as long as I'm by your side, I promise I'll be filled with joy. Great, but we have to go. I got one more person to save. Naruto said as they left the area. And, where are we going, if I may ask? Naruto looked at her and smiled. Kusa. Welcome back Kakashi, how was the team's first C-rank mission? Hiruzen asked even though he knew full well what went on. It took a week but Team 7. Well, it started when we ran into the Demon Brothers. They attacked us and Sasuke dealt with one outstandingly. Naruto however, left the formation to try and protect her from the other assault. Knowing he couldn't handle it, I jumped in and took down the second one. Soon after we ran into Zabuza and I faced him one-on-one. I hate to admit it but he captured me in a water prison. Luckily Sasuke, with little help from Naruto, got me out. A week later, we ran into Zabuza again alongside Haku there and proceeded to fight. As I took on Zabuza, Sasuke fought Haku. I'm not sure how but Sasuke was defeated by Haku, I think Naruto got in the way. Haku then appeared in front of me to shield Zabuza from my Raikiri but somehow Naruto saved her with a certain jutsu. Gato appeared on the bridge to betray Zabuza and killed him. Naruto and Haku soon killed all the bandits and Gato himself. Kakashi said. I see, well Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke. Your punishment will be doing D-rank missions with half of your pay going to Naruto. Hiruzen, shocking everyone in the room. What? You can't do that to me. I'm an Uchiha. You will not punish me. Sasuke said before he felt killer intent. Boy, I'm the Hokage. I do not take orders, do you hear me, Genin? Hiruzen asked. Sasuke nodded slowly. But why sir? Kakashi asked. Hiruzen simply held up a scroll from the wave. Kakashi saw this and gulped. I can tell by the look you know what this is. Tsunami, the new daimyo, informed me of your conduct and she only said good things about Naruto. Kakashi, she stated how you mistreated Naruto throughout the mission and disrespectful Sasuke was and you allowed it. Sakura didn't do anything that didn't involve Sasuke. And Sasuke, hitting a daimyo. I could execute you but I was asked not to because Naruto-kun needs teammates, you also attacked someone under clan protection. Although Naruto could execute you as well, knowing him, he won't. Right, my boy. Yeah, he's in but if we could avoid killing him. I don't mind. Good, now everyone but Naruto leave. Team 7 grumbles away, all glaring at the blonde. Hiruzen turned to Naruto with a smile. Now Naruto, I have a few questions. 1. Why do you look ripped and taller? 2. What's Haku-san's plan? And 3. What jutsu was Kakashi talking about? Well you see, Sasuke Tem used me as a meat shield to protect himself, when I had a near-death experience and met my father and mother. They sealed some of their chakra in me and somehow I absorbed it, resulting in this. I learn all their techniques somehow and Haku serves me, so she stays with me. I see. Well Naruto-kun, I'm sorry for keeping it a secret. Don't worry, my father told me why. Can I have his house? I'll make sure no one knows I live there unless I trust them. Hiruzen nodded. Great. Well Naruto was cut off when Karen and Pakura appeared with another Naruto. Oh you're finally here. Naruto, who is this? Hiruzen asked. Before I explain, can you send your Anbu away? Hiruzen nodded and waved his hand, signaling the Anbu to leave. They're gone now. Are they really? Naruto asked. Hiruzen nodded before disappearing and grabbing something from the shadow. He pulled out an Anbu with, nay, on his mask. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes. Root. The root activated a seal and disintegrated. Now that's over, I can explain. Naruto decided to tell him everything. Hiruzen gave the impression of a fish. To be trained by 4 legends. He also explains the mission of saving Pakura and Karen, also that Karen was an Uzumaki. I see. So what's your plan for them? Well, I was hoping Karen-chan and Haku-chan could become genin. Pakura can become a jonin. I know that Anko needs 2 more team members and Kurenai has been having problems with Kiba. So I was wondering, since Karen is a sensory type, could she be put on Kurenai's team? Kiba switches places with me and I go on Anko-chan team. They can stay with me at my compound if they like. Hiruzen thought about this. Naruto was having problems with everyone on his team, Team 8 was having problems with Kiba and Anko problem was a no-brainer. Let's call them in. Anbu. Bring me Kurenai Yuhi and Anko Mitarashi. Hi. And Anbu said outside the door. After waiting a while, Anko and Hanabi walked in alongside Kurenai's team. Just like requested, Hanabi is Hinata's twin sister. Hanabi looked at Naruto and rushed him and hugged his arm. Hi, Naruto-sama. Did you miss me? Wow, you change and you look stronger. Hanabi said. Anko wrapped her arms around Naruto's and rubbed his abs. Imouto, you should stop that. Be appropriate. Hinata scolded. Nei-chan, if you don't hurry. Naruto-kun, we swept away. Don't you want Naruto-kun? Look at how handsome he has become. Hanabi teased. Hinata turned to Naruto and started to blush. I don't see why you like the dead last. He's nothing but a loser. Kiba said, while looking up and down Anko's body pervertedly. Hanabi scowled and turned to the Inuzuka. Please, Naruto-sama is way better than you mutt. If it weren't for him, my sister wouldn't be here. When the Kumo ambassador tried to kidnap, Naruto ran into the Kumo nin and released some of his chakra, signaling Hiashi while he was using his Byakugan to search. Ever since, Hanabi had high admiration for the blonde for saving her twin sister. I'll say Foxy-kun, Anko likes. The snake mistress said. Naruto chuckled at his first friend. Him and Anko go way back when she saved him from a mob, he also liked her rebel attitude. Thanks, but we should probably get this meeting over with. Naruto said, nodding to the Hokage. Naruto-kun is right. I called you here to discuss some team rearrangement. On Naruto-kun's last mission, the new wave daimyo complained about Kakashi's disrespect towards Naruto-kun. She pointed out how Kakashi would let Sasuke and Sakura treat Naruto like dirt, but when he retaliated, he would get in trouble. So Naruto-kun and I came up with a solution. Kureina-san, you usually complain about Kiba's disrespect towards women and Anko-san, you still need 2 more teammates. Hi. Both John and Sensei replied. Kiba looked down in embarrassment. So Naruto, would you please explain your idea? Certainly Gigi. Naruto said, turning the group. Now my lovelies and mutt. Kiba growled a bit. I came up with a solution for us all. Kurenai-sensei, I would like to introduce you to Karen Uzumaki. She is from the Uzumaki clan and best of all, she's a sensor and a combat medic. Karen has the ability to not only sense chakra but the nature of it. Kurenai turned to Karen with a curious look. Would you explain what he meant about the nature of chakra? Karen nodded and stepped forward. As you know, everyone has a chakra nature like fire, earth and ECT. I can sense that in the personality of the chakra. Take Naruto-kun here, when I feel his chakra. I feel warm and positive, like he can protect me from anyone. You, Kurenai-sensei, feel cold and calm. You're an ice queen. Kurenai blushed and nodded. Kiba chakra feels jumpy and lustful, yeah, you're a pervert. Kurenai smiled at this. That's amazing. I'm glad you're impressed. So was I when I found out. Karen is amazing. Naruto complimented, causing the girl to blush. So with Shino, you can track scent, with Hinata-chan, you can scout, and with Karen, you can track chakra and targets. What do you think? I approved. Kurenai said. Hey, what about me? Kiba cut in. Glad you asked. Since Kakashi wants a demolitionist team, you will be put on his team. We can't have you on a team with beautiful girls like Kurenai, or hubby Haim's team. Naruto explained, causing every girl in the room to blush a storm. That's not fair. Kiba complained. Well, next time keep your hormones in check. Now, may you continue Naruto-kun. Kurenai said. Certainly. Now for Anko's team. Since you need 2 more members, and neither Haku-chan nor I aren't on a team. Anko's eyes widened alongside Hanabi when the two caught on. They tackled the blonde in a group hug. Are you saying you're on my team, Foxy-kun? Yes, alongside Haku-chan. Naruto said, being smothered by Anko's double Ds and Hanabi C's. Haku and Hinata pouted a bit, while Kurenai chuckled in amusement. Kiba glared at Naruto in jealousy. Hiruzen laughed at the blonde. Man, if Jiraiya-kun saw this, he would be crying in jealousy. Now that is over, Kurenai, said John, and gave her leader her attention. Naruto will be training Karen at their compound since they're from the same clan. They'll inform you on it later, but I have to continue the paperwork. Kiba, meet your new teammates at Training Ground 7, dismiss. And Naruto, why not show the ladies around the village? As Naruto was showing them around the village, Haku, Pakura and Karen were glaring at the villagers for the look they were giving their savior. It is a shame this village can't see past their fear. Pakura said. I know, how can they believe someone as is Naruto-kun is a demon? Karen said. Haku and Pakura sweat dropped at Karen's blunt statement. Naruto chuckled. Well, it doesn't matter what they think. Naruto said, gaining the girls' attention. It's because I have you guys and the rest of my friends. Haku and Pakura smiled and nodded in agreement. Karen clung on Naruto's arm. Well, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. Karen said. I would have been dead if it weren't for you. Haku said, holding her hand over her heart. She remembers when Kakashi almost struck her with his jutsu. Naruto gazed at her eyes, which was filled with warmth. I never thanked you, Naruto-sama. Same for me, Pakura said as Naruto gave her his attention. I was left dead by my own village. To use as a sacrifice for peace, even though I was seen as a hero. Naruto-san, in a way, were a kindred spirit. Pakura walked towards the blonde and kissed him on the cheek. Thank you for saving me, even though it was a coincidence. Haku and Karen looked at each other and nodded. Haku walked up to Naruto and both kissed him on the cheek. Naruto's face was as red as his mom's face. Heh heh, no problem girls. Naruto said before his stomach growled. Naruto put his hand on his stomach. Anyone hungry? The girls nodded. Hey old man. Tsuki turned around and his jaw dropped. Naruto. Is that you? Yeah, I want to be through a bit of a growth spur. Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. I'll say, when Ayame sees you. Tsuki began, then smirked. Ayame, Naruto is here. Really? Hey Naru hunk. Ayame squealed when her eyes laid on Naruto. That golden blonde hair, beautiful cerulean eyes and those whiskers. Huh, Naruto-kun. Naruto laughed. Yay, surprised. Very. Ayame said with a flirty look. She walked around the counter and wrapped her arms around Naruto from behind. You know Naruto, I thought you were cute before but now, you are just gorgeous. Well, that means so much coming from a beautiful woman as yourself. Naruto said, giving Ayame his usually foxy grin. Ayame blushed and went back around the table. So Naruto-kun, who are new friends? Ayame asked, eyeing the 3 girls. Well, my name is Karen Uzumaki. Me and Naruto are from the same clan, and together we are going to rebuild our clan. So, I guess I'm Naruto's future wife, after all it makes sense. Karen said. Naruto blushed. Dang, she's really straightforward. Naruto thought. My name is Haku Yuki. I serve my master Naruto because he saved my life and gave me a new home. He is everything to me. Haku looked at Naruto with a blush. I also wouldn't mind helping him restore his clan. Naruto's whole face was red now. Pakura was next to introduce herself. My name is Pakura Mokase. I also dedicated my life to Naruto-san. He saved my life when my village betrayed me and would be honored to help him restore his clan, no matter how many kids it takes. Naruto was now steaming with his face being crimson red. Girls, STP teasing me. The three gave the blonde a confused look. We weren't teasing you, we're serious, the three said. Naruto was speechless. Say, would you mind if I join to-kun? Ayame asked, batting her eyelashes flirtingly. Naruto slammed his head on the counter. And here we are. Welcome to our new humble home. Naruto said as he led the girls, including Ayame, to his parents' house and compound. He had to rewire the barrier seals and the girls' blood and chakra signatures so they could freely leave. Apparently his mother bought a compound just in case there were more Uzumaki in the elemental nation. How about we look around to see what they left for me? Knowing my folks, there should be a library. This piqued Karen's interest. I would love to learn some sealing from our clan. Do you mind if I look for it, Naruto-kun? Karen asked with puppy dog eyes. It could be locked by a blood seal on the door, but you can check. I'll open it if there's a seal. Karen nodded and went to look around. Do you mind if I go to my room, Naruto-san? Pakura asked. Sure. Why not? Naruto replied, letting the scorch user go. Now Haku-chan, want to look around with me? Naruto asked, turning to the ice user. Sure Naruto-sama. Haku responded. Naruto could honestly say that his parents were social people. Every room was bigger than normal. The kitchen had 3 fridges, every room has its own toilet. They had a hot spring in the house, a training room beneath the house and a garden. Haku and Naruto squealed with excitement. Naruto-sama, you garden? Haku asked, turning to the blonde. Yeah, I always like flowers. Hey, how about I go to the flower shop to get some seeds and you can make sure the soil is usable? Hi, I don't mind. Make sure you get some moonflower seeds. Naruto nodded and left the house to his destination. Hum. Ino was humming while watering some flowers. I wonder if Sasuke-kun likes flowers. Probably not, he seems to only like getting stronger. I wonder if forehead. Ino was cut off from her thoughts when all the plants started to come alive. Wow Ino-chan, you did a great job taking care of these flowers. Ino turned to see a blonde she had never seen before looking at the flowers she was taking care of. Camellia, red spider lily, wisteria, plum blossom and more. What a variety. Ino was blushing at the sight of the hot blonde, eyes heavily glued to him. Who is this guy? He's gorgeous and he knows his flowers. How come I never? What? He knew my name. Ino thought but composed herself. Hello handsome, have we met before? Naruto chuckled. Huh, I never thought I'd ever hear you call me that. Do I really look different? Ino tilted her head. Let's see. He has blonde hair, beautiful cerulean eyes, whisker marks, wait. Naruto, is that you? The one and only. Naruto replied. Ino huffed and put her hands on her hips. Naruto, how dare you trick me with that henge? Naruto smiled and approached his fellow blonde. He grabbed her hand, lifted up his shirt revealing his abs and placed her hand on it. Does this feel like a henge to you? Ino barely processed the question and she was feeling Naruto. Ino wants hot meat now. Need to grind my face on these, angry. Ino, are you okay? Naruto asked. Huh, yeah I'm fine. Ino responded, retracted her hand with a huge blush on her face. Anyway, what happened to you? You're now taller, stronger and hotter. Well, on my team or should I say old team mission. The Tem uses me as a life shield to protect himself, almost killing me in the process. But it activated a few bloodlines and evolved my body to what you see. Naruto answered, expecting Ino to defend Sasuke. Wow, I can't believe Sasuke did that, what a jerk. Ino said, folding her arms. I thought you would have said something like, Sasuke-kun would never do that. Or, don't call Sasuke-kun a tem. Naruto said. Ino laughed nervously. While I do like him, it was just a crush and I'm not just going to ignore everything he does, especially if it's getting a fellow Leaf Shinobi killed. I'm not that obsessed. Ino said. Naruto just gave her a really look. Ino saw this and puffed her cheeks in embarrassment. Okay, fine, I was obsessed. Naruto laughed. It's fine. I was kinda the same way with Sakura. How about we both agree to look for better people to be friends with their lovers? Ino looked at Naruto and nodded with a warm smile. Yeah, how about we start with each other? Friends. Naruto shook Ino's hand and returned the smile. The best. Now let's stop talking about my old teammates and something actually beautiful like you and these flowers. Did he just call me beautiful? Ino thought, blushing for the third time today. Speaking of which, how do you know so much about flowers? Ino asked, shaking off the blush. Believe it or not, I actually garden a bit. I always found flowers the purest thing on this planet and was fascinated with them. Naruto answered. How come you never said anything? Ino asked. Naruto looked down with a sad smile. Because no one liked me and I was afraid of being picked on. Naruto answered. Ino started to feel guilty since she was one of the ones to usually insult him. Well, I'm sorry for being mean to you in the academy. I know I was following the crows, but you didn't deserve that. Ino said, hugging her fellow blonde. And if you had said something, I would have been your friend. After all, who doesn't like flowers? Thanks, Ino-chan, Naruto said, hugging the female blonde back. They pulled back from each other, both blushing a bit. Anyway, can you give Moon flowers, roses, camellias and westias? Sure, and how about I give you a discount to celebrate our new friendship? Ino offered. Well, it'll only be fair if I give you something. Want to see a neat trick? Naruto asked. Ino nodded in excitement. Naruto put his hands together and it glowed a bit. When he separated his palms, he was holding a daffodil and primrose. A daffodil for our new friendship. Naruto said, handing the first flower to Ino. He put the second one behind her right ear. And a primrose for beauty. Ino blushed for the fourth time since talking to Naruto. It's official, I like Naruto-kun. He has changed since the last time I saw him, plus he likes flowers. I need to make time to see him more. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Nor per problem, Ino-chan. Naruto said, collecting his seeds and proceeding out the door, but he stopped halfway. Also a word of advice, Ino-chan. You don't need to diet, it'll make you skinnier and take away your beauty. Look for a kunoichi named Kurenai and ask her about her diet. I don't want you to end up as flat as Haruno. Naruto said before leaving. Ino just stared at the door for a while. Okay, that happened. Ka-chan, I'm closing the shop to look for Kurenai. Ino yelled as she ran out the door. She was determined to win over Naruto now. She had to admit he looks way better than her former crush and he actually has a heart of gold. She was not going to let this Adonis go. Later that night, Naruto woke up and found himself in a cavern of water. Where am I? Naruto asked, walking deeper in the cavern. Soon he was in front of a cage. I see, we're in my mind. That's right, and I have to say, it's better than the sewer it used to be. I'm glad we finally got to meet, the Kyuubi said. Same, I was hoping to talk to you. It turns out you are innocent to both attacks on the village. The damn Uchihas are at fault. The Kyuubi smiled a bit. It seems your training with your ancestors has done you good. You might be the most powerful ninja in the village, which brings me joy since you represent me. The strongest of Biju. Naruto smiled and bowed. I thank you for the completion. Did you call me because you wanted to meet me? Yes, and to start your training with my chakra. None of your teachers could help you with that. I think if we have a partner relationship, it'll be less of a strain. Like a summoner familiar. More like a man and a woman. Kyuubi said. Naruto was quiet for a while processing what he was told. Nani, you're a female. Wow, your booming voice easily masks it. Naruto said. Kyuubi chuckled before being covered in smoke. Walla, what do you think? The Kyuubi had long red hair that went straight to her leg. She was wearing a crimson kimono with the arms hanging off her shoulder. So what do you think? Do I look gorgeous or what? Damn right you do. Naruto responded. Wow, you're straightforward. Anyway, to get used to my chakra, when I send it to you, you'll make out with me until you get used to each level. We'll use pleasure to cancel out the hate. Important question, can we make out outside the exercise? Of course, good question by the way. Back to what I was saying, while you could cancel out the hate this way, you could also conquer your inner darkness. I think I prefer kissing you. I agree. So we'll use this method for now. Also, I saw you wanted to learn a three-sword style. Yeah, to combine lightning, water and wind into a maelstrom sword style. Naruto said. The Kyuubi nodded as wrapped her arm around the blonde. Well, just in case you didn't know, you can add my chakra into it as well for a more destructive result. Huh. Never thought about that. Sounds badass. Naruto said. I know, I can't wait to see the results. By the way, what's your name? I doubt it's Kyuubi. Naruto said. The fox woman gave Naruto a seductive smile. No one ever asked. I'll tell you if you think me up a house in your mind. Don't want to sleep on water. Naruto agreed and closed his eyes. Soon, they were in a replica of his parents' house. Nice. Thank you Naruto Koi and my name is Akane. Nice to officially meet you Akane Haim. Naruto responded and approached the woman, both had a warm smile. Same to you my master. Akane replied. So, want to make out now? Akane asked. Naruto nodded his head fast before Akane tackled him on the floor. Alright Karen, I think it's time we talk about your training. Naruto began. As an Uzumaki, we are supposed to master Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu. So I was thinking we could take some of the Uzu chakra metal and forge you a sword. We can come up with a style once you get your ideal blade. Naruto said. He was going over different training methods with his new roommates. I agree, I always wanted to learn Kenjutsu but my mother passed before she could teach me anything. Karen said. Naruto-san, is it possible for me to learn Kenjutsu? I might be able to use my scorching style to come up with a Kenjutsu style. Plus I might as well learn since everyone else is. I also need to learn how to use Two-chan blade. Haku said. Well, we all can go to the weapon shop, I need to make 2 more blades for my 3-sword style. So let's head before we meet our new teammates. Naruto said, leading the girls to the weapon shop. As Naruto was walking with the girls, he was tackled by 2 blurs. Hi Naruto-sama. Hey Foxy-kun. Naruto looked up to see Hanabi and Anko. Hey girls, we were going to the weapon shop before meeting you. Naruto said. Well, can we join you please? Hanabi asked. Sure, why not? Naruto responded. So Pakura, what are you going to do for now? Anko asked. Well, Hokage-sama made me a Jonin and partnered me with Karena-san since she's still a new Jonin and doesn't know much ninjutsu. Pakura responded looking at Karen, waiting for a reaction. Wait, so you're going to be my new Jonin-sensei? Karen asked with excitement. That's right, so you have to start calling me Pakura-sensei. Pakura said. The group proceeded to the weapon shop. And begin. Anko said, jumping back and standing next to Naruto. Haku charged Hanabi with blinding speed with Senbons between her fingers. Hanabi had her palms forward, with her Byakugan activated. It's been 3 weeks since Naruto and Haku joined the team and Anko couldn't be more impressed. Naruto was definitely the strongest of the 3 with his versatility and strength. Haku was the second strongest since she trained with Zabuza and has experience surviving the wild. Hanabi was better in taijutsu than all of them, but Anko, with the help of Naruto, was going to break her out of her clan ways and teach her some ninjutsu and maybe bojutsu. Haku threw a Senbon at Hanabi, but Hanabi was able to pinpoint where Haku was aiming it with her Byakugan and dodge it. Haku went in for a finger jab, but Hanabi swatted it away and retaliated with a palm thrust. Haku ducked using her superior speed and went for a sweep kick, but Hanabi flipped over Haku and went in for finger thrust. Haku grabbed Hanabi's wrist and tossed her away, then went through some hand signs. Water style. Water bullet. Haku shot water out of her mouth at the Hyuga. Vacuum palm. Hanabi released a wind attack at the bullet, canceling out both attacks. Alright, that's enough, Anko called, walking between the kunoichis. You two are doing great, especially while wearing those seals. But Hanabi, you still need to be faster and learn more ninjutsu. If Haku decides to use her ice mirrors, you'll be defenseless. Hi sensei, Hanabi said, looking down until she felt someone grab her shoulder. She turned around and saw Naruto smiling at her. Don't worry, I'll help you with ninjutsu. We're here for you, Hanabi-chan. Naruto said. Thanks Naruto-sama, Hanabi said with a small smile. No problem, now let's see how Team 8 is doing. Naruto suggested. Pakuro was sending scorching fireballs at Hinata, while the Hyuga heiress was twirling around them trying to dodge it. Pakura smirked and charged the Hyuga while throwing fireballs at Hyuga. You're doing well, Hinata-san. Try this. Pakura created a scorching tornado around the Hyuga. Hinata closed her eyes and stood straight. Karen was watching from the side and narrowed her eyes. This is not one of the Hyuga stances I've seen. Karen thought until she saw the move Hinata performed. Is this a new technique? Alright, the Chunin exams are finally here. I called all of you here to see if you think your genin is worthy of competing in the Chunin exam. Please step forward if you think your team is ready. I, Kakashi Hatake, nominate Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Kiba Inuzuka. Kakashi said, reading his book. I, Kurenai Yuhi, nominate Team 8, Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame and Karen Uzumaki for the Chunin exams. Kurenai said, shocking everyone but the Hokage and Anko. Uzumaki, you found another? Kakashi asked. Kurenai nodded and turned forward. I, Might Guy, nominate Team 9, Rock Lee, Neji Hyuga and Tenten Higurashi for the exams. Might Guy said. I, Asuma Sarutobi, nominate Team 10, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamaiki and Ino Yamanaka. Asuma said. I, the awesome and badass Anko Mitarashi, nominate Team 11, Naruto Uzumaki, Hinabi Hyuga and Haku Yuki. Anko said with a smirk. Are you sure, Anko? I know Naruto is not ready for the exams. Maybe you should wait, Kakashi said, but for some strange reason, he had a headache. Like he was forgetting something. Anko just started laughing. That seal really made him forget. I have to ask Foxy for some of those. I know if my student is ready and trustworthy, there's no one here that has a genin that can beat him. Plus, I'm surprised you can talk since you have that useless pink head, poor excuse of a kunoichi on your team and two guys, who can't work together because of their egos. I have faith they'll prevail. Kakashi said. Then you don't know Kiba. Kurenai said. He can't think straight when 3 feet of a beautiful girl. He's fine around Sakura. Kakashi said. She said beautiful woman, not a fangirlish chimp. Anko said. Kakashi was about to speak until he noticed something. Enough you two. Hiruzen ordered. All your teams will enter if you deem them ready. Hiruzen said. Now we must prepare for the exams. Naruto was walking with Haku and Hanabi from their training field. Naruto had to admit that he was proud of how strong Hinata, Hanabi and Karen grew. After planting restriction seals and fixing the Hyuga twin rigid taijutsu style, they improved leaps and bounds. Naruto also promised Hinata a couple dates when they trained, and that motivated her to the point it almost seemed like she tried to kill the blonde. Hanabi was already better in her style and just needed minor improvement, but to be fair, he went out on a couple dates with her as well. Hinata also learned some genjutsu from Kurenai and some medical ninjutsu she has been practicing with Karen. Hanabi decided to learn some ninjutsu and bojutsu to mix in with her Hyuga style, but it took a lot of work. Their senseis also decided to see what their affinity was. Hanabi surprisingly had wind like Naruto, Hinata had lightning, and Karen had water and earth. Naruto decided to help the Hyuga sisters with their affinity by using clones. Haku helped Karen with water and Naruto helped with earth. One thing he could say about Karen is that she was a prodigy when it came to Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, and Iriojutsu. Karen decided to become a dual wielder since she was flexible. Haku learned how to use the Zabuza sword with a new ice mist jutsu she came up with. Naruto-sama, aren't you excited for the Chunin exam? Hanabi asked. Of course, I can't wait to see your training in work. Naruto said, but stopped and turned around when he heard a cry of a familiar voice. Hey, let me go. Naruto turned to his teammates and ran towards the source of the voice. When they arrived, they saw Konohamaru being held in the air by a black cat suit boy. No way, I have to teach you some manners, the boy said, reeling his fist in. When he threw the punch, it was caught by Naruto, who put his sword to Kankuro's neck. Naruto ni. Konohamaru and Udon yelled in excitement while Moegi had hearts in her eyes when she laid her eyes on Naruto. Tamari blushed when she laid eyes on Naruto. Picking on a kid, are you sure you're ready for Chunin? Naruto asked. What are you doing here anyway? You need a passport to enter our village. Sakura said. They're here for the Chunin exam, Haruno. Hanabi answered. That's right, also Naruto-kun, Haku said. I know, Sasuke. You and the redhead get out of the tree. Naruto said, shocking the Suna nin. Sasuke dropped out and glared at the blonde. Gaara appears upside down and looks at Naruto and then his team. Another hottie. Tamari thought, licking her lips as she stared at her fellow blonde. Kankuro, did you forget why we are here? Gaara asked. Gee Gaara. Kankuro said, shut it before I kill. Gaara said before disappearing in a swirl of sand and appearing next to his teammates. Sorry for my brother's action. I'll make sure it won't happen again. Naruto let go of Kankuro's fist and disappeared with Konohamaru and appeared next to his teammates. It's fine. Just make sure he doesn't hurt any civilians, especially the Hokage's grandson. Tamari and Gaara glared at their brother when they heard that, making him gulp. I will keep him in line. Gaara said as they walked away. What's your name? Sasuke asked. Gaara turned to him and frowned. Gaara of the Sand. Gaara said before turning to Naruto. I'm interested in you though. Sasuke smirked and stepped forward. My name is. I wasn't talking to you. Sasuke frowned and glared at the red hair. Naruto tilted his head and answered. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto answered. Kid, this boy has Shukaku sealed in him. He might be unstable. Kuruma said, earning a nod from the blonde. So, a Jinchuriki huh? Naruto said, shocking the Suna nin. Could be fun, I hope we get to face each other. Gaara just smirks maliciously. You will prove my existence. Hope we get to face each other. The group walked away as Tamari winked at Naruto and Naruto bowed, making her giggle. Naruto baka, you can't beat anyone. You're too weak, unlike Sasuke-kun. Sakura said. Hanabi appeared in front of Sakura and activated her Byakugan, startling the Pinkett. You know I really don't like when people insult Naruto-sama. Especially weaklings like you and the duck butt emo. Hanabi said. Haku appeared next to Naruto as the two glared at Team 7. Well, I hate to leave so suddenly, but we have to prepare to kick some more. See you later, Konohamaru Core. We'll hang out later. Naruto said before he and his team used a wind shushin to disappear, making Sasuke seethe. Naruto, Hanabi and Haku stood outside the academy. Alright girls, Are you ready? Hi, Naruto-sama. Both Kunoichi said. Let's go over everything. Are your seals still active? Naruto asked. All three flared their chakra and seals appeared all over their body. What's the rule of deactivating the seals? Hi, we only deactivate the seals if we are overwhelmed or have permission. Haku answered, earning a nod from Naruto. Why about weapons? Naruto asked, putting a hand on his blade. We only do it if we find it necessary and never show off unless required by the examiners. Hanabi answered, unsealing her chained naginata that Naruto made for her. Haku grabbed the handle of Zabuza's blade. Now it's time for us to ask you something. Hanabi said, sealing her weapon away. What's the one rule we have to follow? Haku asked. Naruto smiled and turned to his teammates. Watch each other's backs. The Kunoichi smiled and proceeded into the academy. When they walked in, they saw two men standing at a door with a number 3 on it. Genjutsu, they're trying to weed out the weaklings. Naruto told the girls through the seal. Should we ignore it? Haku asked. Let's act like we don't know and ask them to let us in. Hanabi suggested. That's smart, it'll make people underestimate us. Naruto commented, making the Hyuga blush at the compliment. Hanabi walked forwards and when she did, the two guys stepped in front of her. Hold up, where do you think you're going? I'm trying to get to the Chunin exam. Hanabi said in a shy tone that would make her sister proud. Well, sorry, but I don't believe you are ready, one of the men said with a smug tone. Please, we don't want to be late. Haku begged. Yeah, we trained so hard. Just be a pal and let us through. Naruto said, bowing down. What's going on? The group turned and saw Team Guy approach. When Hanabi's eyes met Neji's, they both glared at each other. Naruto looked at the girl and saw her wink at him. She knows it's an illusion. Well played, Ten-chan. These jerks won't let us through. Naruto complained. Maybe you're not ready for the exam. I heard about you, dead last. Neji said. You're one to talk, considering you don't believe in yourself. Always trusting fate, doesn't that make you weaker? Hanabi commented. Neji narrowed his eyes on Hanabi. Please, it's unyouthful for comrades to fight. Lee said, walking up to the two guards. Let us through. We worked really hard for it. Yeah, it's only fair. Tenten added. Release the genjutsu. Everyone turned to see Team 7 walking in. Team Anko and Tenten glared at Sasuke. We noticed it right away, you could see it too. Right, Sakura. Yeah, we're on the second floor. Sakura said, agreeing with Sasuke. Only these dumbasses would be blind to it. Kiba said. Naruto groaned at Team 7's smugness. Well, congratulations, you idiots, you just gave away the test to weed out the weak. We were acting, Naruto said. Sasuke glared at Naruto and walked up to Naruto and tightened his fist. Got something to say, Imo-chan? Yeah, move out of my way. Sasuke said before throwing a kick at the blonde. Because of this action, several people were in different spots. Lee appeared and grabbed Sasuke's leg, but Naruto appeared between both of them with two of his swords drawn, pointing at both their necks. Behind him, Hanabi had her Byakugan activated and held Kiba's wrist that was aiming at Naruto, while her other palm was pointing at Neji. Neji had his palm aimed at Hanabi and a kunai in his other hand ready to defend from Haku, who was aiming senbons at him. Tenten had kunai and shuriken aimed at Haku and Naruto, whose eyes were on her. Sakura and everyone else was doing an impression of a fish. Sasuke was seething. This mystery guy was able to stop his kick and Naruto had his sword at his throat. He was a Uchiha, he was supposed to be superior. As good as always, Ten-chan. Naruto commented. Yeah, too bad Lee blocked your sword. I wouldn't mind if the emo was sliced up a bit. Tenten said. How can you say that? Sakura asked out loud. Sasuke-kun is way better than that baka. Only a fangirl would think something stupid like that. Tenten said, making Sakura fume. Neji just stared at Hanabi. Seems like fate is on your side today. Hanabi narrowed her eyes at the comment. No, it was just my skills. We will meet on the battlefield and I will force you to apologize to Nei-san for how you've been acting. The teams separated and stood by their team. We should go, girls, Naruto said as they walked past Team 7. And just a bit of advice, while you are here. Don't act or it could get your team in trouble. After all, isn't that what Hatake always preaches about? Naruto said as he walked away with his team. They entered the room door and noticed the large amount of genin. They sent killer intent to the team but they weren't bothered by it. Haku-chan, what are their chakra levels? Naruto asked. Haku closed her eyes and smirked. The Sand Jinchuriki and a Leaf Nin with glasses are the only concern. Naruto turned to Gaara and the two just stared at each other, measuring each other. Naruto-kun. Naruto felt someone jump on his back. Did you miss me? Naruto smiled when he recognized the voice. Of course, Ino-chan, I always think of your beautiful smile. Naruto teased, making the blonde blush. Naruto-kun, you always know what to say. Ino replied, nuzzling in his neck. Ino pig, Sakura asked, approaching the group. What are you doing with the baka? Showering him with my love. Ino answered Sakura while still snuggling into the boy's neck. But I thought you liked Sasuke-kun. Sakura said. Nah, you can have the emo. Naruto-kun is the one for me. Ino said, rubbing her cheeks against Naruto's. Well, you should be with a guy like me. Kiba said. Everyone knows the idiot is the weakest. Weak dogs bark the loudest. Hanabi said, making Kiba seethed. What was that? Kiba asked, gritting his teeth. You can't hear either. You probably need to go to the vet. Hanabi continued, embarrassing Kiba more. Now, you guys shouldn't be so loud. A silver-head boy with glasses. Naruto and Haku narrowed their eyes on the boy. And who are you? Kiba asked, snarling at the new incomer. Just a friendly leaf genin and veteran at these exams. I thought I would give some advice and help you through the exams. My name is Kabuto, by the way. Kabuto said. Naruto-kun. Karen walked up to the blonde and glared at Kabuto. This guy's chakra level is high and he's trying to suppress it as much as he can. His chakra is sinister and empty, like there's a void. We figure, we'll keep an eye on him. Naruto said, walking forward after hearing Sasuke asking about Rock Lee and Gaara. Hey Kabuto, can I have information on Tamari of Suna? Tamari gave the blonde a questionable look. Why do you want to know about that weakling? Sasuke asked, causing the sand mistress to glare at the emo. Of course you'll be so blind even with the Sharingan. Naruto retorted. What was that loser? Sasuke asked in anger. Since you don't understand, why don't I explain? Tamari is obviously stronger than what most people give her credit for. Let's start with the obvious, she has the battle fan, which means she's a wind user, but that's not all. Since she carries around that big fan, she also has physical strength as well as stamina. Also, by the way she talks and carries herself, she's most likely intelligent. So in contrast, she has beauty and strength unlike the fangirls we have here. All I want to know is if she developed a taijutsu style revolving around her fan and if she has a second affinity. Naruto said. Tamari just stared at Naruto in awe and blushed up a storm at the beauty compliment. I can't believe it, he got that right just by speaking to me. There's more to you than I thought, Naruto-kun. You sure know how to make a woman feel special. Tisk, whatever, Sasuke said. Kabuto nodded and proceeded to give information of Gaara and Lee for Sasuke, and Tamari for Naruto. Thanks, Four Eyes, we'll see ya around. Naruto said before turning around. When his back was turned, the Sound Nin charged Kabuto to make an example out of him. Hanabi activated her dojutsu to see how the mummy managed to land a blow on Kabuto. Naruto-sama, the boys have metal embedded in their body. It produces sound waves. It's weird because the girl doesn't, but her chakra level matches Haku's, yet she's suppressing it. Hanabi said. She's hiding her strength. Haku said. When she attacked Kabuto, she didn't look as angry as the boys. It seems she didn't care about the remark on her village. Haku said. This exam is getting better and better. Naruto thought. Alright, shut up you maggots. The exam has officially begun. The genin turned to see Ibuki standing next to a few instructors. The first part of the exam is about to begin. Everyone, into the classroom. Everyone went to sit down. Naruto sat down next to Tamari, who gave him a small smirk. Hey there Naruto-kun. I have to thank you for the earlier compliment. Tamari said with a hint of pink on her cheek. You were spot on with your assumptions. It was quite obvious. Naruto commented. You carry yourself well, only if half of our fangirls follow your example. Tamari scowls at the term. She hated fangirls and she wanted nothing more than to blow them away. Alright, for this test, you each will have a set of questions you'll have to answer. Every time you cheat, we'll deduct a point, and after 3 times, you are disqualified. Also, if one person on the team fails, your whole team fails. Ibuki said with a sadistic smirk. Sasuke and Sakura glared at Kiba's head, making him shiver. Naruto smirked and looked for his teammates in the class. Once he found them, he channeled chakra into the communication seal. You girls know the true meaning of the test. We are meant to cheat as a test to gather information. Haku answered. We should figure out what questions we are able to answer individually and help each other with the rest. Hanabi suggested. Good idea Hanabi-chan, but I believe in you too. You are fantastic Kuno.